We've given the world some iconic shapes: the pyramid, the wheel, the cube, and of course, the pretzel. And who doesn't love the warm, rich smell of freshly baked pretzels? Those golden brown twists, lightly salted, with a perfectly crispy outside and a soft, chewy inside. But how is this delicious snack made? Did you know pretzels have been around since the 7th century? It all started in Germany, where bakers twisted dough into the familiar shape and called it pretiola, meaning little reward in Latin. By the 18th century, German immigrants brought pretzels to America, where they became a hit in places like Philadelphia. Today, we enjoy them in all sorts of ways: soft, chewy, crisp, and crunchy. So how do we make these beloved treats on a large scale? The first step to making pretzels starts with prepping the ingredients. It all begins with high-gluten wheat flour. At the factory, the flour is kept in huge silos to stay fresh and dry, and then it gets transported through pipes, powered by compressed air, straight into the mixing area. Next up is water, and it's no ordinary water. It's kept in temperature-controlled tanks to make sure it's just right for activating the yeast. The yeast, along with salt, sugar, or malt syrup, and butter or margarine, are all carefully measured by machines. These machines are like the secret ingredient to making sure every single pretzel tastes the same, batch after batch. And with recipe software running everything, it's all perfectly precise. Once the ingredients are prepped, the process of creating the dough begins in large industrial dough mixers. Factories use 2 types of mixers depending on how much dough they're making. For smaller batches, spiral mixers do the job. Spinning the bowl with a hook mixes the dough nice and even. For larger batches, horizontal mixers come in, using powerful paddles or blades to knead big amounts of dough with ease. While the dough is mixing, it's all about building gluten. That's what makes it stretchy and strong. Cool sensors keep track of the temperature and moisture, making sure everything is just right. After about 10 to 15 minutes, the dough turns smooth and elastic, ready to head off to its next adventure, fermentation. The dough is then transferred to climate-controlled fermentation chambers or proofing cabinets. For about 30 to 60 minutes, depending on the recipe, the dough rests in special chambers where the conditions are just right. The temperature sits between 75 degrees Fahrenheit and 85 degrees Fahrenheit, and the humidity is kept at around 75 to 85%, perfect for getting the yeast working. As the dough ferments, the yeast eats the sugars and turns them into carbon dioxide, which gets trapped in the dough, making it rise and puff up. This step isn't just about getting bigger dough. It also adds flavor and gives it that perfect texture we love. Once fermentation is complete, the dough moves on to the dividing and shaping phase. First, the dough is sent through a dough divider machine, which cuts it into perfectly even pieces. This step is key, especially in large-scale production, to make sure every pretzel is the same size and shape. Next, the divided dough heads to shaping machines, which take over the job of rolling the dough into long, thin ropes. These machines twist the dough into the classic pretzel shape, forming a U, crossing the ends and pressing them down, just like a baker would. Most of the time, this is fully automated for speed and accuracy, but in some places, skilled workers still hand twist the pretzels, especially for artisanal batches. After the dough is shaped into these iconic twists, the pretzels travel along conveyors to the lye dipping station. Here, they take a quick dip in a solution of sodium hydroxide, lye, mixed with water to create an alkaline bath. This step is fast, with the pretzels only staying in the solution for a few seconds, and the concentration is carefully controlled at around 3 to 4%. The lye bath is super important. It's what gives pretzels their deep brown, glossy crust and that unmistakable flavor. While lye is caustic, the high heat of the oven neutralizes it, making the pretzels completely safe to eat. The whole dipping process is automated for safety, with workers wearing protective gear and ventilation systems managing the fumes to keep everything running smoothly. Right after their lye bath, the pretzels get their signature salty touch. As they move along the conveyor, an automated machine sprinkles coarse salt evenly across the top. This is where things get customizable. Factories can switch up the amount of salt or even swap in other toppings like sesame seeds, cheese, garlic, or cinnamon sugar. Next up, it's time to bake. The pretzels are loaded onto another conveyor that moves them through a tunnel oven. This massive oven can bake tons of pretzels at once. Inside, the oven is split into different temperature zones, each designed to do a specific job. In the first zone, the pretzels are hit with super high heat, usually around 450 degrees Fahrenheit to 475 degrees Fahrenheit, which sets the crust fast, locking in moisture and making sure the outside gets nice and crispy. As the pretzels move deeper into the oven, the temperature gradually lowers, allowing the inside to bake through evenly without drying out. The whole baking process takes about 10 to 15 minutes. Once pretzels are done baking, they move onto cooling belts to let them cool down. This step is super important because it stabilizes the pretzels, keeping their structure intact and their crust crispy. Some factories used forced air cooling systems that blow cool air over the pretzels to speed things up. After cooling, it's time for quality control. Automated systems, along with human inspectors, check each pretzel to make sure they meet the factory's standards for shape, size, and color. Any pretzels that don't make the cut are taken off the line. The rest move on to packaging. Packaging is done with automated machines that seal the pretzels in bags or boxes. The packaging machines ensure each package is filled just right. And then apply labels with all the important details, ingredients, nutritional info, and expiration dates before they head off to stores. The journey of the German pretzel is an amazing mix of tradition and modern technology. While we may not know the exact origin story, today's pretzel making process is all about blending machines, craftsmanship, and a little science. That famous twisted shape and delicious flavor have made pretzels a favorite, not just in Germany, but all around the world.